Hey guys, this is Clinton Jeff. Now, last month on Valentine's Day, Under Armour sent me a mysterious package. It was these shoes, and these aren't just any shoes, these are smart-ish shoes. I've been super interested in checking out Under Armour smart running shoes ever since they were first announced. They've been doing this for years and there's a bunch of options already available now. But this one is the latest, it's the Under Armour HOVR Machina. And here's what I think about them. Alright, starting with design and construction, the Under Armour HOVR Machina might not be everyone's taste. It's a slightly chunky looking shoe, and the new Under Armour Energy Web design on the midsole does make for a very busy looking sneaker. Starting with the upper, the HOVR Machina has a 100% engineered mesh upper in an interesting pattern that kind of looks like an animal print in a way. You can see we got the bright red colorway, and when I mean bright red, I mean bright red. I've tried to color match this video and make sure how it looks on camera is accurate, but I gave up. And here is Under Armour's stock photo of this colorway. Brands keep sending me red shoes for some reason. I'm not sure what it means. But if this isn't your style, the HOVR Machina comes in a whole bunch of other colorways. There's a more formal black and white colorway that I think looks a lot better. There's also a more sporty black and red version and a blue and orange colorway as well. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more options available soon, but these are just the launch colorways. Coming to the materials used, the tongue also seems to be a mesh material with soft padded laces on top that loop through fused, reinforced eyelets, with the top two eyelets being metal. These extra holes will definitely help with those of you who have smaller ankles and want a more secure fit. Side note, I really have to mention how awesome these laces are. I know it's a relatively small thing, but considering how this is a fitness shoe, these laces were almost silky soft, yet still stretchy enough that you can still tie them without needing a double knot because they'll be securely locked in. Good job, Under Armour. Moving on, I gotta say, even though this is a mesh-like material, it seems really durable, so I'm thinking you could actually use these on an off-road run as well. The engineered mesh upper really is that tough. Another thing I really liked about the engineered mesh upper is that it doesn't stretch as your foot moves to handle turns or uneven surfaces. The upper is really designed to be minimal, but at the same time still provides support whenever necessary, and I think Under Armour has done a really good job at doing that. Coming to the midsole, in terms of cushioning, the HOVR Machina, as the name suggests, uses their HOVR foam cushioning, and there's an ample amount of it too. There's apparently 20% more HOVR cushioning here, which is the most on any Under Armour shoe ever, which also means that there is even a 2mm stack height advantage over the older Under Armour HOVR Infinite, which was their most cushioned running shoe in 2019. And you can feel this difference with the very first step. Another one of the reasons for the stack height, which is 31mm in the heel and 23mm in the forefoot, might be the inclusion of a new two-pronged Pebax carbon propulsion plate, which is sandwiched between two layers of HOVR in the midsole. Inspired by similar plates and track spikes, the propulsion plate basically adds bounce and increased stability to the shoe, so you can feel a nice little spring in your step while running in them, and it is noticeable enough to make it easier to keep running long miles in these shoes. The propulsion plate also allows for quick transitions through the gait cycle to quickly get you on your forefoot as you take a stride. The HOVR foam also has a new addition on top of it that Under Armour is calling an energy web, which is supposed to help give back the energy you put into every step somehow. Not entirely sure if it works, but it does look kind of cool. This energy mesh basically is a mesh that wraps around the entire midsole to retain the foam and try and prevent it from expanding outward, which in turn does help it return energy back into your step as well. In addition to the good amount of cushioning, there's also a thick ortholite insole to help ensure all-day comfort and help secure step in. All in all, the combination of the Cushy Insole, the propulsion plate and the HOVR cushioning makes this a pretty comfortable running shoe. I mean, this might even be Under Armour's most cushioned running shoe ever. Of course, it's worth mentioning that this cushioning is very different when you put it up against other running shoes with more famous cushioning tech like the Nike React Infinity Run and the Adidas Ultra Boost 20. Both of those are no doubt the pinnacle in great cushioning in a running shoe with a nice plush step-in comfort as soon as you slip them on. But if you're looking for a neutral ride, the Under Armour HOVR Machina does a pretty good job. It's definitely a bit more firm, which means this might be a better everyday running shoe that you could even throw on multiple times a day, since the cushioning here doesn't need a recovery day. Coming to the outsole, it's made up of a mixture of high abrasion rubber, aka carbon pods, and blown rubber, which is a slight improvement over what was used on last year's HOVR Infinite. The high abrasion rubber or carbon pods is found near the toe area and the heel, with the blown rubber in between. Under Armour says that this will last for over 300 miles and that the performance pod will last even longer. But that being said, there's a lot of conflicting opinions on the internet about how long that blown rubber can last. The blown rubber allows for a more cushioned ride and makes for a lighter shoe, but a lot of people are skeptical about how long these will last. But hey, I guess time will tell. Now let's move on to the most interesting part about these shoes for me, which is the Smarts. Also within the outsole, you'll find the Bluetooth performance pod here in the right shoe. This is something that's becoming increasingly common in most Under Armour shoes nowadays, and this is what measures distance, time, your steps per minute or cadence, pace, calories burned, and even more precise information like your foot strike angle, your stride length, and ground contact time, and much more. Of course, to see all of this information, you have to download Under Armour's MapMyRun app and pair the shoe with your phone. The performance pod updates all your run stats every time you open up the app on your phone, and it basically uses Under Armour's AI engine to analyze your stats and give you tips on how to improve. But even better, if you run with your phone on, with the MapMyRun app open and connected to your shoes, you'll get personalized coaching tips as you run, which is pretty freaking cool. Worth mentioning is that there's no GPS chips in the shoe. Instead, they piggyback on your phone's GPS. If you choose to run without your phone, you'll still get distance and pace information from the motion sensors, and all of it seems pretty accurate according to my tests. All in all, this does seem to add to the weight a tiny bit though. The HOVR Machina weighs in at about 295 grams in the men's model and about 240 grams in the women's model, which is a little bit heavier than most sneakers in the everyday running category. Now, I've tried smart shoes before and they've always seemed like a useless thing for me, but how Under Armour handles this information and tries to make you better and help improve your running form without hiring an actual professional coach, this actually seems to be pretty legit. Alright, now let's move on to performance and fit. In terms of fit, the engineered mesh upper on the HOVR Machina seems to fit very true to size, which seems to hold true even for wide-footed people like me. I've read some people say that the midfoot and toe box area is a bit snug, but I personally didn't seem to have that issue even with my wide feet. Of course, I always recommend trying on the shoe in a store first if you can, because every company has their own take on sizing. And don't forget that your foot does tend to swell up after a run, so take that into account as well. So you don't want something too snug. With the mesh tongue being thick enough to distribute the lace pressure, the fit is extremely comfortable as well. It's also a really secure fit because of that tongue that's attached to the straddle board and midsole with elastic mesh straps that hug both sides of your midfoot before the last eyelet for an even more secure fit in case you're worried about any slippage. Adding to that comfort is the quilted mesh around the collar and the heavy padding in the ankle area. That all makes up for an extremely comfortable and secure fit. In terms of support, the HOVR Machina is pretty usual for a neutral running shoe with a normal sized internal heel counter that allows your foot to sit securely inside the midsole at the heel. I personally did not experience much heel slippage with them. The lateral forefoot midsole flares out a tiny bit. While I do think the durability of the upper allows this to be an off-road running shoe, I think this is best suited for running on roads and pavements and maybe city streets. All that being said, I do feel like this is one of the few shoes that require a break-in period. At first, the propulsion plate might make you feel like this is a really stiff shoe, but after a few runs in them, you'll feel the base of the shoe become more pliable with a more secure fit. Running with these, the Machina feels soft and responsive at the same time, which is usually a tough balance for any company to strike, but it's mostly thanks to that forefoot plate. The shoe tends to be bouncy with a decent amount of energy return as well. So these are stiff at first, like I mentioned, so they need a bit of a break-in period, but the shoe's flat shape and stiff midsole does mean this isn't exactly meant for fast running. Instead, the shape and stiffness allows for a very stable underfoot feeling, so it's great for your everyday runs. Alright, with all that out of the way, it's time for the CJ verdict, and here we go. The Under Armour HOVR Machina is really a great, well-built running shoe. They're durable, comfortable, the forefoot propulsion plate provides you a really snappy toe off. And hey, if you pick this up in the same bright red colorway that I have, people will see you running from a mile away. Plus, they have the added advantage of the smarts built in, which means that these are shoes that can actually help you improve at running. Now, these are priced a little high though, but I really do think that these are probably the best running shoes Under Armour has made next to the Under Armour HOVR Sonic. I mean, these might look more chunky, but they compete really well with everyday trainers from other brands. I mean, running shoes is a pretty hot category for every company right now, and every major brand has a bunch of their own takes on what they think is the best running shoe, which is great for us as consumers because it gives us a lot of choice to find that perfect running shoe. Like take for example, Reebok has the Zig Kinetica, which is a similarly priced shoe, whereas if you want something more lighter with better cushioning, you have the Adidas Ultra Boost 20 or the Nike React Infinity Run, which are some of the best running shoes right now, but they also come at a much higher cost. Under Armour wants to be seen as a serious running brand, and they've already released some pretty sweet running shoes in the last few years that cater to almost every type of runner. And these were all connected shoes that could connect to your phone and track and send all of your running data to your phone so you can monitor and improve. No gimmicks, just a serious focus on improving your run. The Machina might not be as light as some of its competitors, but honestly, I don't even think it's designed to be. Nor did Under Armour even seem to care about that, because once you slip these on and you go for a nice long run, you'll immediately feel the magic of that propulsion plate, the hover foam and the durable upper all coming together to make for a pretty good everyday running shoe. At the end of the day, if you're looking for a neutral running shoe and you want to improve with the kind of information that the smarts on the shoe can give you, along with a decent amount of responsiveness and cushioning, well then the Under Armour HOVR Machina is the shoe for you. Definitely recommend it, especially if you're an Under Armour fan. Alright guys, that's what I think about the Under Armour HOVR Machina. As always, if you guys have any questions about this shoe, let me know right in the comment section below. Or you can ask me right over on Instagram or Twitter at ClintonJeff. And hey, if this video was helpful, don't forget to hit the like button right below, or maybe subscribe because that would be appreciated. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.